We'll just wait to see people get in here, and then we will start. We're going to let everybody get in here. I started it early so that everybody can get in here, and then we'll run through everything, and then I'll take some questions, some concerns. Hello from California. What is up? Must be nice over there in sunny Cal. It's very cold over here in New York. It's why I'm sick. Hello from Seattle. As you see, I'm a Niners fan. You probably are a Seahawks fan. You guys got it good. We got it like crap. And 49ers are just horrible. Yeah, Danelle, man, I'm in two championship games this week, and I'm in a semifinal in the other league. That's the really hard league, I call it. The most difficult league I've ever been in, with like this huge roster and IDPs, which I've never played before and stuff like that. So it's the first year I've ever played IDPs. So maybe next year I'll talk about that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to add too much stuff to the show. Back-to-back champion, nice. I've done that before. It's not easy to do. Neither is this. Fantasy advice is not easy. This has been a rough year too, with the way the league and the way the league's been going this year. The NFL's been going. It's been rough. It's been rough to try to figure out who's going to do what. A lot of no names came out of nowhere this year. It's been a little crazy. Made the championship without Julio and Melvin Gordon. Nice. $250 on the line. Oh. Yeah, I haven't played fantasy football in a couple years now for big money. I've been joining like smaller leagues and stuff like that. Funny thing, I got kicked out of a couple leagues because I won one league 2 years in a row. They kicked me out. They just said, no, we don't want you back. I was like, what? How do you do that? They just wouldn't let me back in. But it's the price you pay for being pretty decent at fantasy football. Like I said, we're going to start at 8, so where do I do my research? Pretty much most of my research is looking online at stats, just constantly viewing web pages like from ESPN to Roto World, to just looking at different stats, all the stats I possibly can. Plus, I watch a lot of freaking football. I literally, during the football season, have 3 TVs going in my living room, and I watch a lot of football. I watch the NFL package, so I get all the games. So I'm constantly watching different games, watching how people do. I watch how teams play, and I just enjoy that. Like, I just enjoy watching football as a whole, and my Sundays are pretty much taken up by doing that. I don't know how that's going to work this year when I'm going to have a little baby girl, and I'm not going to have time to do that kind of stuff probably this year, so we're going to see how that works out. But hopefully things will go differently, where I don't have to do this so much on YouTube and don't have to do all the editing, if I can possibly get this TV thing going, so that way they'll do all the editing. All I got to do is show up. So that's my goal. That'd be nice. And then I could just use that video and put that on YouTube. And I don't know, we'll see what happens. But right now, all I'm worried about is, the baby being born nice and healthy in May, and then being able to bring you content next year and see what I can do, see what I can add, see if I can make things different. I like to think about it during my off season. A lot of people still make videos and still do stuff, all future stuff like that. I take a break because this stuff is like, it's long. The season's long, and making videos and doing stuff and watching the games and doing all that stuff for you guys is it's fun, but it's time consuming, and I basically take a break, and I start to make little other sports videos and little sports shows and stuff like that here and there. So we're gonna see what I do. But there's some polls. I think I put polls in here for you guys. If you guys, what do you guys like and stuff like that for polls, for sports shows and stuff like that. We'll see where it goes, because I want to take this network, I should say, to a different level where it's not just fantasy football, because fantasy football is fun, but man, is it time consuming. And I like to talk about other sports. I like to talk about, basketball, baseball, football the most, but I want to talk about other things, other topics during sports, like different things that, people, want to hear, want to talk about. So we'll see. Live, yeah, I thought about, what's funny is I thought about doing live stardom and sit 'em with phone calls, and I have to figure that out, how to set up a thing where somebody can call in and do all that stuff. This is, I would love to say that this is like I'm really good at this, but I'm really okay at it, and I love to get better and be able to figure out how people do stuff like that. And we'll have to see. We'll have to see how I can do that, where we can have some callers call in and ask some questions about fantasy and stuff like that, and talk to some other people, get their thoughts and stuff like that. That'd be really cool. So maybe that is something that I'm definitely thinking about, and I appreciate that, Felix. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into that, because that was something I wanted to do this year, just never got to implement that this year, and I wanted to do that with Siggy. But with Siggy in my schedule, it's hard because he's in Texas, I'm in New York, and it's rough trying to get together sometimes. And now, like I said, he just had a baby, and now he's gonna have another baby, and it's a little hard to get our schedules together with the way we work and the way other things go, because like I said, we do have other jobs. So we have to like figure out how to do that. But I don't know, we'll see what happens. I wish Shiggy could be here today. That'd be really cool. But he's, like I said, he's been really busy. I haven't even really talked to him in the last few weeks, because I know he's been in the middle of a move and stuff like that. So, but you guys are always welcome to tweet at Siggy and still ask him for advice. I mean, he's, he always checks that and stuff like that, and he'll be able to look at stuff. But obviously it's the last week now, unless you have a playoffs next week like I do too. I have one on week 17, which I think is a joke. I hate week 17. This should be a law against week 17 playoff games in fantasy football, but it's really frustrating. But it is what it is, and I got to deal with it. But had I not had a bye last week, I probably would have lost my fantasy football game, because my players that I do have did not do well last week, but I had a bye, so it didn't matter for that league. So I'm actually in the semifinals this league this week because of that. And if I have to go in week 17, I have Ezekiel Elliott, and of course, if Ezekiel Elliott does not play or gets taken out of the game early, I had to pick up Darren McFadden and Alfred Morris, because I'm not sure which one of those is going to play, and I had to stash them on my bench because I'm not sure how that's going to work for week 17 if I make the championship. Oh, man. Yeah, I love the Mets. And you know what's weird? I used to, I'm always a Mets fan at heart, and I remember when the Braves had like David Justice and Ron Gant, and they used to go to the playoffs all the time, where the Mets were just sucking at that time. And I remember watching the Braves play, and I used to love that tomahawk chop when they'd be in the playoffs. I used to love watching the playoffs just for that and stuff like that. Now I'm, obviously it's a little different, because the Braves are just, they haven't been good in a while, but I remember those Braves, those teams in the '90s. Man, they were just dominant, and all those good pitchers. They had Smoltz, Glavine, Greg Maddux. Who was the fourth? Oh, who am I forgetting? There was a fourth pitcher. There was Smoltz, Glavine, Maddux, and one more. Maybe you could help me. But man, they were dominant team, and it was awesome to watch. It was awesome to watch those days. I wanted them to win a World Series so bad. They ended up winning one, right? Yeah, they did win one. They beat Cleveland, right? I think in the World Series. I think that's who they beat. Oh, my dog and my cat are playing. So yeah. The winners from the bragging rights. Let's see here. Let me get on it. We got like 10 minutes before we're gonna really actually start. So I'm just giving a chance to everybody to get it up in here. Let me see. Let's go to that. Because I don't remember who won. This is a pain because you gotta like kind of go back to your history to look at this, and I never look at it right. Plus, I play like other games, so I'm like never get to see it the right way. So let's see. Afternoon bragging rights, and the other one, of course, is not there. So now I gotta view last 7 days. Okay, so let's see. And Sunday, Sunday was the 18th, right? Take it that was Sunday. Okay, so the early game bragging rights here. Let's click on this, and the early game bragging rights. The shout out goes to 20 Jordan Bradshaw won the early game bragging rights. I was 9th. 20 Jordan Bradshaw won that one. Let's go to the afternoon onlys, or I don't think that's next. Let me see. Then it's the afternoon only, I believe. Yep, afternoon only. Ooh, I was 21st. Wow, how bad did I do? I suck at this DraftKings thing, I swear sometimes. How I win money, I have no clue. I actually won money this past week. I played those quarter cheap games, but I've won a few bucks. Wrecking 40. Okay. My stream just went off. And then it went back on. Okay. Sorry, I lost my place. My stream just literally just shut off and then went back on. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't keep doing that. But let's see. The weekly bragging rights contest was won by, I was 6th. Rudy Baller won that one. So that was the last one. This is the last week for it, I get. Well, I guess we could do week 17 as well, but I just won't be announcing it because I won't be doing a show next week. I'm not going to do a week 17 because I don't think anybody really has playoffs in week 17 except for my dumb league. Yeah, this will be Stardom and Sidham show. I'm just waiting until 8 o'clock. That's the actual time it starts. I'm just letting everybody letting everybody get into the stream. And then I'll be talking about, I'll do the quarterbacks first, who I like this week. And I'll be talking about the big names this week because this is the year, or this is the time where you start your studs. And I usually never, you know how I am, I don't really talk about the studs too much. A lot of people talk, I mean, it's easy to say start Drew Brees. It's easy to say start Matt Ryan now and stuff like that. And so, I mean, yeah, I can say that every week. But that's not really helping anybody. That's why I like to try to make it a little harder and pick those guys that are a little harder to pick. So, here, King J here. King J, you got to be careful what you say, man. The stream, it'll block you. Yeah, the stream is set to like, for people not to be cussing and stuff like that in the stream. So, if you do happen to say anything that's kind of derogatory or just bad, it's gonna block your message. I know you don't mean anything by it, so I'll sorry about that, man. I'll I know you don't mean anything by it, so it'll take off the message, but you should be able to chat. I mean, I can just block people if they get like stupid in the stream, but we don't usually have that here with us. We don't have that kind of problem. Yeah, I don't know what happened or why my stream went down, but we'll see. Hopefully that'll not happen again. If it does, just stay tuned or refresh, and I should be back up and running. I hate when it does that because then I think it stops, it loads to YouTube, and then loads again. I don't know how that works, but yeah, we're gonna get started here in just a couple minutes. So a lot of people are gonna watch this video later, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, started at 8 minutes or this and that." That's when the real show starts. Because I usually do a lot of talking beforehand, and then next thing you know, oh, you won? Oh yeah, that was you, wrecking 45. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, the stream, I don't know what happened. It just went down. Gotta blame OBS. That's what I'm streaming with, so. I don't stream very much often anymore either. I did this last year. I did a live Q&A, and it was fun. But then again, I'm a busy man, so it's hard to do those and keep doing those all the time. And then my internet goes down, or Time Warner internet here sucks. So Time Warner gets packet loss, and next thing you know, the stream drops, and it was getting me mad. So I was just like, screw this. AJ Green, not Sanders. Manuel Sanders or AJ Green. Manuel Sanders. I don't know about AJ Green, man. I have him on my on my fantasy team, and I haven't been able to. I have him in right now, but I'm a little nervous about him just with that hamstring. When you tear a hamstring, it's hard to come back from that right away. And I don't know if he's going to be able to do any or put up any much points at all, to be honest with you. And I don't know. He's got a rough matchup this week against Houston. Houston's freaking defense against the pass has been pretty solid this year. But this is the time of the year where you roll with your studs, and I don't know. I'm just a little worried about him, but I might still roll with him if he's at least, I don't know, 85% healthy, around that range. He's probably better than half the league at wide receiver. So you definitely got to like that, and I like Jeremy Hill this week. Just because that Houston defense is good against the pass, but they're not the best against the run. So I do like Jeremy Hill, especially since they actually now have to use him a lot since Giovanni Bernard went down. They've been using him a lot more now. It seems like he gets those goal line carries. So I definitely like him a lot, but I'm just a little nervous about AJ Green. And you're going to hear some noise in the background, and I apologize. It's my wife. She's cooking. She just came home from work, and she's hungry, and like she, she's got two to feed, so she's got to eat some food. So she's back there cooking right now in the kitchen behind me. I'm gonna take. All right, you know what? Let's start this. Let's get this going. Welcome to Week 16. Start 'em and sit 'em, people. There's a few people watching now, and I'm going to run down this week. It's Week 16. You're in the championship game probably, or you're in the playoffs. And Liam, what are you saying over here? You're in the playoffs, and you're hopefully in the championship game or in the third place game. Who knows? Depends on what happened or what's going on. If you're watching me, I'm pretty much assuming you're in some kind of playoff game. And let's get this rolling. For quarterbacks this week, I'm not going to give like a bunch of starts and sits that way. I'm just going to talk about a bunch of people who I think have some great matchups. And obviously, Matt Ryan has a good matchup going against Carolina. Carolina's pass defense has been improved recently, but the Falcons can score on Carolina and have been proven to score. Oh, what's up, David Soto? And I'm glad you beat Ansel. David Soto and I were in league back in the day. That's DC King 1984. Anyways, love Matt Ryan this week. Love it's gonna be. I'm trying to look over here at the schedule, so that's why I'm trying to figure out who I'm talking about. But love Matt Ryan this week. Love Jameis Winston going against New Orleans with Mike Evans. That would be a really good matchup for you guys. Trying to think. Bad matchup this week, probably Marcus Mariota. He's been. Oh, I see what Liam's doing here. Sorry, Liam, buddy, but anyways, let's keep talking. Marcus Mariota kind of has a bad matchup this week with Jacksonville. Jacksonville's pass defense has been pretty solid, and I'm not sure. I'm not going to kick him. I just timed him out for a little while. He'll stop once he's done or whatever. Once he figures it out, then I'm not just gonna keep timing him out. He's got like a few minutes before he can talk again. But back to talking about starts. More good matchups. This, like I said, this is the time to start your studs. I know Aaron Rodgers is going against Minnesota, but you saw Andrew Luck last week, which he was on my sit list. Not a sit list, but I thought he had a really bad matchup. Minnesota's been pretty solid against the pass all year. Then all of a sudden, he throws like 4 touchdowns against Minnesota. I think it was like 4. Wasn't it last week? He threw like 3 or 4. And you're just saying to yourself, what's going on with Minnesota? And right now, their defense is they just haven't been good. And if you have their defense, I'm thinking about benching them again in Green Bay, playing against Aaron Rodgers and company, who has been pretty solid. I know he's hurt. He got a bad calf, and he looked the part last week. Didn't even throw a touchdown pass. Well, he kind of did. What's his name? Devontae Adams dropped like 2 of those balls, but still, at the same time, like Aaron Rodgers has been a pretty solid quarterback. You can always count him, especially with playoffs on the line. You know he's going to throw those good wide receivers, and he's going to. I think this week he's going to burn Minnesota. Kirk Cousins, believe it or not, I like him this week too. But at the same time, Chicago's been pretty solid on defense. They're one of those little underrated, like surprising teams on defense. Chicago. Somebody asked me this week if they wanted to start Phillip Rivers or Kirk Cousins, and I immediately said Phillip Rivers because Phillip Rivers has that good matchup against Cleveland, where Kirk Cousins has that matchup against Chicago, and I just don't trust him against Chicago in Chicago. Andrew Luck has an amazing matchup this week against Oakland. Oakland is not that good against the pass. Oakland's defense is not that good, surprisingly, believe it or not. They've been solid, decent in the last few games, but they're not the best of defenses. And going against a team that throws deep, with Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton, they don't do well with speed. Those are big physical corners that they have, and they don't do well with. I didn't block your account, man. Liam, I didn't block it. All I did was time you out. And I love Andrew Luck's matchup this week. If you're looking for like quarterbacks like that are not so good, Colin Kaepernick, as in he's not that good, but he has a good matchup against the Rams. The Rams are obviously a pretty good defense, but at the same time, their defense. Colin Kaepernick's done pretty well against the Rams in the past. He's had a 300-yard game. He's had 3 touchdown passes before against them. Granted, it was a couple years ago with a different 49er team, but at the same time, it's still the Rams, and they still play the same defense. It's the same, pretty much the same, some of the same unit. So they have a history, and I think Colin Kaepernick will try to run a little bit, and he does get you rushing yards, does get you passing yards. But yeah, and I love Winston this week. Like I said, going against against New Orleans. New Orleans can't defend the pass. New Orleans has been horrible. You saw basically a 48-41 win over Arizona, which I was shocked actually because I didn't think Drew Brees was going to do that well against that Arizona Cardinal defense. But it was just shocking to see that. Let me get to some questions for you guys. Now's a chance if you guys want to start putting some questions about quarterbacks. Put the quarterback questions in there. I'll talk about running backs next, and then we'll talk about that stuff. That way we keep it more organized in here. That way we're not like basically talking about wide receivers while I'm trying to talk about quarterbacks or anything like that. But let's see. Brady stats versus New York Jerks. Yeah, I like Tom Brady. I would never sit Tom Brady. I know last week I said don't sit him, and he ended up just stinking up the joint. He just didn't do anything. He didn't do anything bad, but he didn't do anything good either. But it's hard to sit Tom Brady. How do you sit Tom Brady, and who do you sit him for? Unless you have like Drew Brees and Tom Brady, then in that case, yeah, start Brees. But or if you have like Tom Brady and Matt Ryan or something like that. Like if it's an obvious thing where the other one's just gonna score points way more than the other, then yeah, do it. Eli Manning, against Philly, I think I would start him against Philly. Although Philly's defense is not that bad, they haven't been good as of late, but they're not that bad either. But I would start him with the way him and Beckham and Shepard have been playing. I would start him against that Philly D this week. Cam Newton, definitely a start this week. Going against Atlanta's pass defense. Atlanta sucks. Atlanta's pass defense sucks. They looked good in the last couple of games where they played like no quarterback basically. But in the first game, I think they played Cam Newton was in there, but then he was hurt, I believe, and their backup had to finish the game. I love Cam Newton against Atlanta. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game, actually. If you ask me, that game's going to end up being a high-scoring affair. I say that, and I'll watch it end up being a defensive team. That's the way the fantasy football has been going this year. But, yes, of course, Breeze is a good start. That's like a given. That's a definite. That's always. Flacco this week, going against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is one of those teams that they've been pretty solid against wide receivers all year. So I don't know if I'd start Flacco this week against Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. It depends on who else you have, I guess. Mariota or Tyrod Taylor. I probably actually this week against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's pass defense has been like on point this year. Their record doesn't even show. Their record basically is because of Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles sucks, but the Jaguars' defense has been pretty solid, and especially against the pass. And I don't know if Mariota is just going to be able to throw all over the Jaguars. But Tyrod Taylor might have a good game against Miami. In Buffalo, I think Tyrod Taylor can have a good game against Miami. So I would actually start Tyrod over Mariota this week. All right. Sorry, guys. I had to, I don't know what's up with Liam or why he's being like that, but I had to block him. So, let's get some more questions. Rivers or Mariota? Rivers or Russell? Let's see here. I think Rivers has the better matchup. Russell, well, Arizona, man, they gave up all those yards to Drew Brees, but then they'll turn around and then they'll play a really solid defensive battle against Seattle. So you never know what the deal is with Russell Wilson. You never know which Russell Wilson is going to show up. The one that threw 5 interceptions against Green Bay, or the one that kills a solid defense the next week. You just never know. But Rivers going against Cleveland, I mean, it's Cleveland. I mean, it's in Cleveland, and Phillip Rivers should be able to put up some numbers there. At least throw a couple touchdowns, maybe 3. Where Russell Wilson, you never know which one's going to show up. You never know how he's going to play against Arizona. It's a division rival, and Arizona's out of the playoffs. They'll probably play really hard just to spoil Seattle's run. So you never know with that. So I think I take Rivers over Russell this week. Stafford or Rivers or Mariota, I definitely take Rivers again over. I told you I don't really like Mariota's matchup against the Jaguars. I'm just not feeling that matchup, and they're, like I said, their pass defense has been pretty solid. Stafford or Wilson, I definitely take Stafford. Well, then again, he's playing Dallas, but you can pass on Dallas, and I think Stafford's going to be able to pass all over them. Although Dallas' defense has been pretty solid. We'll see. Let me get some more questions. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll up, but you guys are they're so quick. Carr or Mariota, I would go Carr. Luck or Rodgers, I'd go Luck. Andrew Luck got a great matchup this week. That's really 2 good quarterbacks you have on one team. That's got to be rough all year to try to figure out which one of those to play. Jordan Reed or Jimmy, I would have tried to trade one. I would have tried to trade one to get another good player on the side so you can just add to your team. Jordan Reed or Jimmy Graham. I would take Jimmy Graham because Jordan Reed, you don't know which. I mean, that dude is hurt. He's banged up bad. Spencer Ware, Jordan Howard. I'll answer running backs in just a second, guys. Sorry, right now I'm trying to do quarterbacks. Jimmy Graham or Martellus Bennett. I'm trying to think of this one. Arizona and New England's playing Jets. I don't know. I think I'd take Bennett against the Jets. Definitely Bennett all day with that one. Oh, somebody said Bennett all day. Christopher Roper. Look at that. See, you're reading my mind. Either that or I'm reading yours. Luck or Cousins. I'd take Andrew Luck. Same for you, David. I'd take Andrew Luck. And Jets, Jets playing against. Hold on, I'm trying to get to the chat, but the chat is moving so fast. No, Tannehill's not playing this week. It's going to be Matt Moore. Luck or Cousins, I already did that. Matt Ryan or Cam Newton, definitely. Ooh, that's a hard one, but I'd take Matt Ryan. You got to take Matt Ryan. He's been solid all year. I don't think McCarron's playing. Unless, what's his name got hurt? Did Andy Dalton get hurt? Did I miss something? Cousins or Breeze? Definitely Breeze. Mariota or Ryan? Definitely Ryan. I don't know if Julio will play. I wish I had that inside scoop. If you know somebody with inside scoop that give me those kind of things, then I will definitely do that. So let's get into running backs. Since we already talked about some of the quarterback stuff. Oh, Jared Goff or Colin Kaepernick. Oh, please tell me you're kidding. And you're in the Matt Moore or Matt Barkley. Oh wow. Let's talk kickers. No, thank you. All right, let's talk running backs. And the first running back you got to think of who the heck is playing the 49ers. My team back there. They've given up 11 100-yard rushers this year. Um, definitely Todd Gurley. And somebody's asking me Todd Gurley or Ty Montgomery, and this week Todd Gurley. When you're playing the 49ers, they're just giving up 100-yard rushers like they're Oprah Winfrey. It's like the Oprah Winfrey show. You get 100, you get 100, everybody gets 100. So I'm telling you right now, it's just a wrap. Todd Gurley's probably going to have a great game this week, and people who've held on to Todd Gurley all year long and been waiting for him to finally show up, it's going to be this week against that team, against my team. So that's a definite right there. Next one usually is Cleveland. And, of course, who's playing Cleveland this week? That would be the San Diego Chargers. So that puts Farrell in the mix. But I don't know if I like the way they're using him. I don't know if they like the way that he's so-called, playing this week yet. So I don't know if I trust him against Cleveland this week. But LaShawn McCoy is a great play going against Miami. He's been on fire lately. It doesn't matter what defense he's playing, he's just been running wild. And that offensive line for the Bills is just pretty solid, especially run blocking. It's crazy their scheme and the way they run. It's just hard to stop their running game. So I really, really, really like him going against Miami. Jay Ajayi against the Bills. Bills are saying they're keying on Jay Ajayi, but of course they're keying on him, and it's one thing to key on him and nothing to stop him. I don't think they're going to be able to stop. I think Jay Ajayi is going to have a great game this week, and another surprising team that's actually giving up a lot of rush yards are the Denver Broncos. So look for Spencer Ware this week to actually have a pretty solid game as well, running the ball and probably catching it out of the backfield. That's another team that, their defense is solid. Obviously, Denver's defense is great. Their pass defense is great. But their run defense has been suspect all year long. They haven't had a real run stuffer in the middle to be able to stuff that like they did last year. Last year, they were pretty solid against everything, run and pass. This year, teams have been able to gash them a little bit with the run. So Spencer Ware, like I said, is another good play. Cincinnati gives up some pretty decent rush yards. They didn't do much. They did their job pretty well against Le'Veon Bell last week for the most part, but he ended up getting some stuff at the end. But so Lamar Miller this week is another good play, especially at home with the way Savage is actually throwing the ball, and Savage will be starting this week. So I like Lamar Miller this week against the Cincinnati Bengals. I also like Jeremy Hill going against that Houston defense who isn't the best against the run either. So, yes. Oh, thank you. So, Jordan Howard, against the Redskins is a good play. He'll be able to run pretty solid. Who's stopping the run pretty well has been the Bears too as of late. So I don't know about Rob Kelly, although the Redskins, they do run him a lot. So we'll have to see what happens with Rob Kelly. But there's some players with some pretty bad matchups. Like for instance, the Lions. Well, they had no run game anyway. So if you're starting anybody from the Lions, you're starting them if you're in a PPR league or something. Somebody like Theo Riddick, if he does play this week, because he's good for PPR. You're not going to start Dwayne Washington going against the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys have the best run defense in the league at the moment. Oh, what's the wifey cooking? She just made me some pierogies. 'Cause I need to eat some food. Whoever's playing Baltimore too, basically, this week, and that will be the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Le'Veon Bell is going to have a rough week. Those Le'Veon Bell owners, now, if you're in a PPR league, you obviously still start Le'Veon Bell. It's when it gets tricky is when you're in the standard leagues, because now you're going for yardage or maybe bonus points or whatever for Le'Veon Bell, and so I don't know. We'll have to see, but right now, Le'Veon Bell's got a rough matchup going against that Ravens defense. That Ravens defense has been pretty solid against the run. And yes, David Johnson is a stud. He's been a complete stud going against Seattle though. So I don't know how well or what they're gonna do for them when it comes to playing Seattle. In Seattle too, they're even tougher there, and they're trying to lock up a second seed. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but It's going to be a little rough. It's going to be a little rough for probably David Johnson this week. New England has been pretty solid against the run, and they're playing the Jets, so that means Matt Forte or Bilal Powell is going to have a little bit of rough time this week. Those are just like some of the bad matchups that I see here. The Giants have been pretty solid against the run as well. That's another team. So Ryan Matthews, if you have him. How do I feel about Carlos Hyde this week? I like him against the Rams. The Rams, he's been able to have success against them. He had success against them in the first game. I think that Hyde will be able to run a little bit in this game as well. He's been able to run in almost every game. He's been pretty solid for the most part. It's just that they get so behind early, or they get behind just to the point where they just take him out and they stop using him as much, and then they use a lot of Sean Drone, it seems like. It's just a little annoying. How do I feel about Adrian Peterson? Adrian Peterson is Adrian Peterson. I mean, he's AP. He's going to be playing a tough Green Bay defense, though, that's got a lot of guys back, and they've been pretty solid against the run. So I don't know how well he'll run against them. And that offensive line for Minnesota is just garbage. The way they block, I mean, they should have been able to run all over Indianapolis. They just couldn't move the ball. They couldn't do anything. Sam Bradford, as much as he sucks, seems like he sucks. He's still thrown 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, just 3 interceptions this year. But he just seems like he's just garbage. So I don't know, but I'll start answering some questions about some running backs now. I know you guys have been putting them in there, and I've been talking. So now's the time. If you want to ask some running back questions, I can get to them now. And Dion Lewis is a weird play because Dion Lewis, you never. That's another thing with New England players, man. It's one week it's James White catching the ball, one week it's Dion Lewis catching the ball. You never know which one is going to be the one. The one you do know, the constant you do know right now, they're going to run LeGarrette Blount down your throat. So if you have LeGarrette Blount, just keep him in the game. I don't care if the Jets suck. They just constantly run LeGarrette Blount, and he's such a tough runner. It's been hard to bring down. I actually made the mistake of trading him this year. I had Eddie Lacy and LeGarrette Blount in a league, and I traded the wrong guy. I traded Blount because I figured I can get something good for him, and I still have Lacy, so I was like, okay. And then Lacy got hurt, and then now it's screwed me basically. That's the league where I'm in the semifinals. I'm about to go to the championship if I win this week, but still, that was a bad move on my part. I felt like, because then Lacy went down literally like 2 weeks later. Thomas Rawls or Coleman. This week, I'd say Rawls going against Arizona. I know Arizona's tough against the run, but the way Rawls is running, I'd still play him over Coleman, who's going to get, who shares carries with Devontae Freeman, where Rawls is pretty much the man right now in Seattle. There's nobody really spelling him too much because Procise is still out. Jay Ajayi or Lamar Miller. That's a tough one. Right now, I'd have to say Ajayi just for the... well, it depends. If you're in a PPR, I'd say Lamar Miller. If you're in a standard, I'd say Jay Ajayi. Whoa, I just lost that quick. Rashad Jennings going against the Eagles defense. Yeah, I like him, but the problem with Rashad Jennings is him and Perkins are sharing carries, literally splitting carries. And yeah, they had some success last week running the ball a little bit with him, but they also had success running the ball with Perkins, so not sure. DeMarco Murray or Latavius Murray, I assume you mean. I'd still go with DeMarco. Ware or Montgomery. This week, I don't know. Montgomery has a tough matchup with that Minnesota defense. I'd have to say Ware over Montgomery, if that's your choice. Which three I would start in PPR? Mark Ingram, Thomas Rawls, Doug Martin, or DeMarco Murray. I'd say Rawls, Murray, and I think I'd still say Doug Martin over Mark Ingram. It seems like Traveris Cadet and Hightower are getting a lot of touches now too for New Orleans, which is a little annoying. But so for PPR, I definitely say Rawls, Martin, and Murray, because Murray still gets catches. Derrick Henry, he's coming out late. It seems like now they're starting to maybe use him a little bit more because maybe they're just trying to rest DeMarco Murray a little bit more. But this week with Tennessee playing Jacksonville's defense is, like I said, pretty solid. But I mean, if you have no choice and you gotta play Derrick Henry, then you can go ahead and play him. I mean, he does get goal line carries now, it seems like. But in a PPR, I definitely take Lamar Miller over Derrick Henry. I wouldn't even. I mean, that's not even a close. Like, I mean, you shouldn't even ask that question. Howard or Ware. It's hard. I love Jordan Howard. He runs so hard. It seems like every week. And this week going against the Redskins, I like him a lot. I also do love Spencer Ware a lot this week going against Denver because Denver's defense, like I said, it's hard to stop the run. But I think I take Howard over Ware just because of the simple fact that they just don't stop running the ball in Chicago. They need him. Sorry, I'm going to eat the same time we talk. Ingram or Farrell? Mark Ingram over Farrell. Although Farrell has a better matchup. Montgomery or Doug Martin? Whew. Doug Martin going against the Saints. Bilal Powell versus New England. I don't like Powell going against New England this week. Not at all. Where Montgomery, Hyde, Howard, Lewis, or Dixon. And yeah, but how many? How many can you start? You didn't say. Do you miss me, Coolio and DraftKings? Did you win one this week? I don't think I saw you win one unless you won something else that I don't know about. Ajayi or Dixon? Ajayi, man. Definitely. Can you play Murray and Henry? Depends on who you have. I mean, if you have a really sorry back or somebody else, I mean, by now you obviously have somebody good on your team. Should I play Taylor Gabriel or Mike Evans? I go Mike Evans all day. Don't sit Mike Evans. I made the mistake of sitting him once or maybe twice this year. Don't do it. Don't ever do it. Pick 3. Okay, Ware, Montgomery, Hyde, Howard, Lewis, or Dixon. That's a lot of good matchups. Ware, Howard, and I definitely say Montgomery because you get catches too with him. I love Carlos Hyde this week against the Rams. I don't know if I trust him though. Don't know if I trust him to stay in the game. Don't know if I trust the way the 49ers run the ball. I don't know if I trust him. So I would tell you Ware, Howard, and Montgomery just because the way Montgomery's been playing. But you can easily play you can easily play Ware, Hyde, and Howard as well. I don't know about Dixon this week. I don't know if I like Deion Lewis just because of the simple fact that they might use James White. You just never know. Ajayi or Dixon, definitely Ajayi. I think I said that. Where am I? I lost my place now. Pick one in the league. Ryan Matthews, Kenneth Farrell, Matt Forte. I wouldn't pick Ryan Matthews this week against the Giants. Giants are so good against the run. I mean, he does get goal line carries, so you never know. But I think I'd take Farrell over all. Believe it or not, Farrell over those. Maybe Matthews, but I wouldn't pick Matt Forte going against the Patriots. Thomas or Ingram, especially with Bilal Powell playing so well. Thomas or Ingram. I would say Thomas. How's the wife's food taste? Good. Just pierogies. Just little pierogies. Jordan Howard over Latavius Murray. Lamar Miller, Blount, Latavius Murray, Frank Gore, or Jonathan Stewart, standard pick 2. That is hard, man, because Jonathan Stewart against the Falcons. I think I'd pick Miller and Stewart. Blount too, but I can only pick 2. So I would pick Miller and Stewart this week. Should I start Julian Edelman? It depends on who do you have else. I mean, you didn't give me any option. I just lost somebody's. DeMarco Murray, Montgomery, Martin, Farrell, pick 2, and maybe flex 1, standard $1,000 money league. Holy crap. That's huge, dude. That's huge. Definitely DeMarco Murray. I think I'd go with Doug Martin and DeMarco Murray. The only other, and if I flex, you'd flex Montgomery. I don't know if I flex Farrell. I don't trust him yet. Enough for that. Rob Kelly, Lamar Miller, Montgomery, pick 2. Is that for me? Rob Kelly, Lamar Miller, Montgomery, pick 2. I think I'd pick Kelly and Lamar Miller. Yeah, I'd go with Kelly and Lamar Miller. I wish I had that problem. My team is stacked. Yeah, I think that's the problem with Farrell. You can't trust him right now, and he did fumble. It's annoying, and I have a feeling that usually when that happens, that means probably somebody like Ronnie Hillman will steal the carries. Wash down pierogies with juice or soda. I got water. And I'm sick, bro. I'm sick, man. I gotta drink water. Water's good for me. And tea. Apparently my wife just made me ginger tea as well. It's all nice and steamy. All right, let's get into wide receivers, because I talked enough about running backs. I talk a lot about running backs. Let's get into wide receivers. We got like AJ Green coming back this week, maybe. Who knows? And we got Liam. We got Liam coming back again to, I don't know why. That's my boy, always steamy. Yeah, that's me, man. Let's talk about the wides. The wide receivers this week. Sorry, if you're wondering what I'm clicking on, I'm just clicking on some stats that I'm looking at, because I like to look at the stats first before I make my determination of who I'm going to pick. It's just how I roll. And there's so many freaking wide receivers. It's a little nutty. All right. So wide receivers with good matchups this week. Somebody was asking me about Julian Edelman. That's a serious matchup for him with the Jets. I mean, Jets can't defend the pass really well, even though they do have Revis, who has not. He's not Revis anymore. So, but Julian Edelman's a good start. I'm trying to think of who else, who's really horrible against the pass. Kelvin Benjamin actually might have a good game this week going against Atlanta. So might Ted Ginn. Those are two guys that no one ever talks about. And right now, with somebody's asking me about Hopkins, yeah, I would actually start him. Although Cincinnati has not been kind to wide receivers this year, I will tell you that they're what are they, the fourth or fifth best in the league against wide receivers. But right now, with the way Savage throws, he just seems way better than Brock Osweiler. And right now, he's just looking at Hopkins all day and every day. So I actually will probably do like Hopkins this week. Going against the norm there in that sense, just because of who he's playing. But Doug Baldwin's facing the Cardinals team right now that have just been not really good. Breeze threw all over them last week, so Doug Baldwin's another good play. Trying to think of another one. Who's playing the 49ers? The Rams. So Kenny Britt is a good play. Emmanuel Sanders this week. Demaryius Thomas too. Going against Kansas City with Marcus Peters. So whoever Marcus Peters not on, so you never know which one. Whoever the one Marcus Peters is covering is probably the one they won't throw to. So it'll either be one of those two that or both that have good games, depending on who he has in or who he throws to. Who else? With good matchups? Sammy Watkins on the Bills has a good matchup against the Dolphins. Dolphins haven't been that great against the pass. The Jets, I wouldn't start that many Jets. The New England Patriots defense has been pretty solid, especially against the pass. I don't know if I'd start Brandon Marshall or Anunwa. Stephon Diggs has a good matchup against Green Bay, especially if you're in a PPR league. Who else? Your studs, of course, you start T.Y. Hilton. You got to start him this week. You got to start your Mike Evans. You got to start your Amari Cooper, your Michael Crabtree for the Raiders. AJ Green's going against Houston. I don't know how. Like I was talking about him earlier when I first came on, while I was letting everybody come into the stream. I'm not sure how well AJ Green will play because he is hurt, and I just. So those hamstring injuries, they worry me because you start him, next thing you know he plays a quarter or two, then he's out for the rest of the game, and maybe he made a catch or two, and that's it. Allen Robinson, I like him this week going against Tennessee, who has not been that great against the pass. I like Allen Robinson a lot this week. I like Marquise Lee as well. The only thing is Blake Bortles is throwing on the ball. Blake Bortles has been struggling. He's the ultimate garbage can. You don't get points to the last quarter. So I would still play Allen Robinson. You just might be sweating it out to maybe the third or fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden that's when he starts to pass the ball well. So see about that. I don't like Larry Fitzgerald this week going against Seattle. I don't really like the Arizona wide receivers going against the Legion of Boom this week, although they can go deep now. They have been beaten deep, it seems like. Seems like Seattle can give up some yardage without Earl Thomas. I said that before this year. As soon as he went down, it just seems like Seattle just gives up some deep balls. So maybe a J.J. Nelson can get by. Maybe a John Brown can get by. But I don't see Larry Fitzgerald being able to do that. He'll be matched up with either Richard Sherman or some of those outside corners. And they do well with the underneath possession receivers. It's just those little speedy, shifty wide receivers sometimes. And without Earl Thomas, those are the ones that get by. I like Tyler Lockett this week. That's for sure. I don't know about the Baltimore wide receivers. I don't know about Steve Smith going against Pittsburgh. Yeah, he's tough. Yeah, he's that type of wide receiver. So if you're in a PPR, yes, Steve Smith. But I don't know about him doing that much. Pittsburgh hasn't been that kind of wide receivers either. Kansas City with Jeremy Mack. I don't like any of the Kansas City wide receivers. I don't know if I trust Tyreek Hill going against that Denver secondary. It's gonna be tough. Love Taylor Gabriel, especially if Julio Jones is not playing. I do like him in the slot though. If Julio Jones does play going against Carolina. Carolina doesn't really have a good slot defender. They have a good outside corner in James Bradbury. But the other corner in the slot corner hasn't been as good as Bradbury's been. So I do love Gabriel, especially like I said, especially if Julio Jones doesn't play. But I still like him if Julio Jones does return, because Gabriel's been pretty solid. He's been a playmaker for him. And Ryan's not afraid to throw to anybody. Minnesota going against Green Bay. Devontae Adams, I like. Alshon Jeffrey might get a little bit of Xavier Rhodes. I'm not sure if Xavier Rhodes will cover Devontae Adams or him, but usually goes against the number one. And that means Devontae Adams will get a lot of looks. And I definitely like him this week. Ty Montgomery might catch a lot of balls out of the backfield this week. So if you're in a PPR this week, Montgomery might get a lot of catches because Minnesota is very tough against the run. They've been solid against the pass, minus last week against Andrew Luck and company. But Devontae Adams has just been a beast. But he's dropped a couple touchdowns last week, I believe. But at the same time, he's still been a beast all year long. So love Tyrell Williams this week against Cleveland. Also love Dontrell Inman. I like the San Diego Chargers offense against Cleveland this week. Trying to think of any other wide receiver things I could talk about. Obviously, like I said, start your studs. Odell Beckham Jr., got to start him. You got to start those guys. Jordan Matthews has a tough matchup this week against the Giants, who've been playing pretty solid defense. As you saw, they've been just on lock on wide receivers. Who else? I think that's pretty much it. The Detroit, believe it or not, the Detroit wide receivers I like this week. Golden Tate I like. And I like I like Marvin Jones. Dallas Cowboys defense is really, really good. They're really, really good, but they can give up yardage to wide receivers here and there. And with a quarterback like Stafford, I believe they'll be able to do it. But the only thing is I believe Stafford is a little banged up. He has a messed up or dislocated finger, I believe. That's what's been messing him up a little bit lately, but doesn't mean he still won't toss it a lot. So we'll see. But Dallas has been pretty solid against wide receivers, but just Golden Tate's been tough, especially lately. So I'll start taking questions now, obviously. Yes, Des Bryant, definitely a must start. He had 9 catches last week or 8 catches for 90 yards or something like that. They unleashed last week. I don't know if you noticed, but Dallas unleashed Dak Prescott last week. He had 36. He threw 36 or 38 passes or something like that, or completed 32 or 33. It was, some of them were a little short dink and dunks here and there, but at the same time, he was hitting Des Bryant in stride, and he was. They unleashed Dak Prescott last week. I think they were trying to show the world that he can throw too. So I liked Des Bryant last week. I like Des Bryant. Period. I mean, you got to start him. Let's see. Adams won't do good. Well, we see. I could be wrong. You could be right. Alshon Jeffrey. Oh, here's another guy that I forgot. Came back and got a touchdown last week, I believe. Robbie Anderson's been a solid pickup. When you got those backup quarterbacks, a lot of times they're the backup wide receivers are the guys that they mesh with really well. And I lost my place because this chat is going so fast. I apologize, people. Trying to find where I was. Jeffrey, Robbie Anderson, Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams. I tell you right now, Jeffrey, Evans, and Adams. Go with your studs. Oh, Cooper. Cooper's been banged up, though. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's been banged up. His Crabtree seems like he's doing all the work. But against, you know what? I'd probably say go Cooper, Evans, Adams. I don't know if I trust Robbie Anderson going against the Patriots. Ware or Montgomery with kick return yardage. Oh man. Well, Ware. I think Ware is the kickoff returner, right? Adams, but no Adam. Yes. Meredith or Rashard Matthews standard. Rashard Matthews has a rough matchup at Jacksonville, but they throw to him a lot. And with Jeffrey back, I don't know if how much Meredith would do. So I'd say Rashard Matthews. Evans, Jeffrey, Cooper. You asked me to pick one. Oh, I lost it again. There's so much chat here. There's so much chat. I lost it. so hard. Devontae Adams, Steve Smith, Gabriel Edmond need one. If you need one of those, I take Adams. I don't care if they're playing Green Bay. I still take Adams. I mean, the way that Aaron Rodgers is throwing the ball, I take Adams. I mean, he dropped a couple wide open passes last week that could have been easy touchdowns. Cooks, D-Jacks, Green, Montgomery. I take Cooks. I'm so worried about Green. I hate to tell you to sit AJ Green, but if he plays, you got to play him. I mean, because if you don't, it'll burn you later if he ends up killing it. But at this point, I'd say Cooks, AJ Green, and I don't know if I play D-Jax, man, but he always kills the Giants. Or not the Giants, I'm sorry. He's playing for Washington, so he's going against Chicago. I don't know, man. I think I'd go Cooks, AJ Green, and D-Jax, and I'd hold Montgomery if it's standard, because you're going to look for running back or rushing yards with Montgomery. I don't know how much he's going to get rushing against Minnesota. No Tyreek is for the Chiefs? I know that. Did I say something else? Montgomery, Taylor Gabriel, Malcolm Mitchell. I like Gabriel and Malcolm Mitchell this week. I would take those two for standard. Tyler Lockett, Julio Jones, Baldwin, DeAndre Hopkins, Ty Montgomery, Doug Baldwin, standard pick 2. That's rough. You got to go with Julio Jones if he plays, no matter what. Always go with Julio. And I'd go with Hopkins. Hopkins or Baldwin. I'd pick between those two because they're getting a lot of They're getting a lot of throws towards them. Tyler Lockett too. And that's not a bad problem to have between picking through those. Watkins or Jeffrey. Sammy Watkins has a really good matchup this week. If Tyrod Taylor can get him the ball, that's the big question. Pick 2, Tyrell Williams, Michael Thomas, Tyler Lockett, or Alshon Jeffrey. Tyrell Williams, Michael Thomas, Tyler Lockett, Alshon Jeffrey. I'd probably pick Williams and Thomas. Gabriel or Beasley, PPR, Gabriel. What is my fantasy football record? I went 10-3 in one league, and I already had a bye and won my playoff game. So I guess I'm 11-3. Went 9-4 in one league. Won 2 playoff games. Basically, you have to win 2 games to win one. It's weird. It's all odd. So I guess I'm a 10-4 or 11-4. With 2 games coming up in a row, 16 and 17, you have to win 2 games to win one, or it's the total points between 2 games. Let's see. There's a really annoying constant beeping noise coming from live stream. I don't know what it is. Sorry, I apologize. And I was 11-3 in another league. Had a bye, and I have a playoff game coming this week. So I was number 1 in 2 leagues and number 2 in another league, with 2 championship games this week and 1 semifinal this week. Yeah, Deshaun Jackson has been pretty good. I would have to say Kelly over Hyde. Matt Prater or Adam Vinatieri. I don't know, man. Flip a coin for kickers. I really don't know about kickers. I don't know why, But I'm just not. I don't care about kickers. I don't. I know they can win you a game because they can score a lot of points here and there. And Matt Prater's been solid, and Adam Vinatieri doesn't miss ever. But with Detroit playing Dallas, I would probably say Matt Prater. Simple fact that he's probably going to kick a lot more field goals than Adam Vinatieri this week, just because Dallas is just so tough on defense. Pick 3: Sanders, Crabtree, Jeffrey, Landry, Watkins, Inman. That's a really good set of wide receivers. I have to say Crabtree, Landry, and Watkins. I like Sanders. Sanders, Crabtree, and Landry. Lee, Tyler Mitchell, or Tyler. I assume you mean Tyler Lockett. Mitchell, Inman, Green, Sanders, Crabtree, PPR need 2. Holy crap. Crabtree, PPR, and if Green plays, I would say pick Green for PPR. If not, try going with Sanders. He might get you a few catches this week. Yeah, let's do tight ends. It's about that time. Tight ends. Oh, man. Let's get into them. Who do we like? I already told you earlier that I like Martellus Bennett going against the Jets. Jets give up tons of points to tight ends. Greg Olsen this week going against Atlanta. I actually had Greg Olsen on one of my fantasy teams. Kyle Rudolph going against the Packers. Cameron Brate, I love him this week going against the Saints. I'm looking at the schedule here. Yeah, definitely Greg Olsen. Dwayne Allen going against the Raiders. Kendricks against the 49ers. I don't like the way the 49ers play defense, so I would quickly do that. Let's see who else here. Hunter Henry going against the Browns. Antonio Gates going against the Browns. Both of them. I don't know so much about Dennis Pitta going against the Steelers. I don't think I like that. Let me look at the chat. Sorry. I don't know. Tight ends has been weird this year. Like you've had ones that like all of a sudden like they look like they're not getting any targets, they're not doing anything. Then one week, then the next week they're catching like 2 touchdowns, getting like 100 yards. Then the very next week they get like 2 looks or 2 passes thrown to them one week, and then the next week again they score, or they go for weeks like that, and then next thing you know they pop out and score like, I don't know, 3 touchdowns in a game. It's just a little crazy. Remember the year where like tight ends were killing it? You had like Vernon Davis, you had like Jimmy Graham, you had all these tight ends just dominating the league. And now it just seems like, yes, tight ends are good and everything, but at the same time, it's been like just so like you never know when they're gonna go off. So. And Jordan Reed's been a disappointment this year. Jordan Reed is such a really good stud tight end. Problem is, he's really banged up right now. And even if he does play, I don't know if I'd play him. I mean, you saw the last game. He fell, he hit the ground, hurt his shoulder, he was all in pain. Then next thing you know, he gets into a fight, punches somebody in the face, and gets ejected. It's like, I don't know if I trust Jordan Reed. He looks frustrated. He looks like he's playing frustrated, and he doesn't seem like he should be in there. They should just shelve the guy for the year and let him rest, because it just seems like that's what he needs. But that's just me. But yeah, I'm definitely Olsen backup? No. Greg Olsen should be in at all times. Rudolph or Brait? I think you can. I think you're very. It doesn't matter which one of those two you play. I think Cameron Brait. I don't know. Actually, no. Rudolph just seems to get more looks, more catches. Brait just seems to get like more end zone looks, but I don't think it matters which one of those two you play. They're both going to do well. But if you're looking for more catches and more targets, probably Rudolph. Because Evans just gets so many looks from Jameis Winston, way more than Brait does, obviously. And for good reason, obviously. Moncrief or Meredith? It depends on Moncrief even plays. If that's a choice, Moncrief doesn't play, then you've made the choice for you. Actually, Meredith can play. Brait, love him this week, like I said. Travis Kelce is another one I love. Travis Kelce actually going against Denver is not a bad matchup. Denver has not been that solid against tight ends. They lost a couple good cover linebackers, and I believe Travis Kelce will do pretty well. Talk about defense in a minute, but right now we're talking tight ends. So we got some tight ends questions. You can definitely Ebron. Oh, Eric Ebron. The way you spelled that made me look at it for a second. It almost looked like LeBron. Would you play Eric Ebron over Henry? Dallas Cowboys have given up some yards to tight ends, so Eric Ebron might actually be a solid play. If you remember, the 49ers scored a couple, or could have scored a couple good times with Vance McDonald. And the Cowboys have given up some yards to tight ends here and there, so I would. I don't know. Well, I would play him only over Henry in the sense that he's definitely going to get more targets because Henry shares with Antonio Gates. I would start Martellus Bennett. It's hard to start over Kelce, but the way Denver plays defense is hard though too at the same time. So I'd say Martellus Bennett over Kelce this week. But check Bennett's health too, because Martellus Bennett's been a little banged up, but at the same time, they're playing the Jets. The Jets give up tons and tons of points to tight ends this year. Jason Witten going against the Detroit Lions. That's a good matchup as well. Lions have been burned by tight ends as well this year. Big Ben or Carr. I'd take Derek Carr this week. Ravens are tough, man. The Ravens defense is not bad. I'm telling you right now, they're not bad at all. How many of these things do I have? My goodness. Ertz or Reed? I'd take Ertz. I don't trust Jordan Reed this week. Any given day, if Reed was healthy, I'd say Reed. But with the way Reed has been playing and the way he's hurt right now, I'd take Ertz. Cooks or Demarius? Right now, Cooks. I don't know if Vernon Davis is a good start in PPR. Ryan Griffin this week, playing against the Bengals. I don't know. It depends on how. I don't know enough about Tom Savage to know how much he'll dump down to a tight end, or enough about the way he plays. So I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to be confused in a matchup going into the playoffs, you know? I have two slots. Powell, Mitchell, Lewis, and Inman. Mitchell and Inman. Delaney Walker or Tyler Eifert. Tough to go against Eifert right now. So much end zone looks. As soon as they get into the red zone, right to Eifert. As soon as they get into the red zone for Tennessee, right to Rashard Matthews. Or running with DeMarco Murray. Or now Derrick Henry as of recently. It just seems like Cincinnati automatically goes to Eifert as soon as they get into the red zone. Just a nice big tall target. Adam Britt, thank you. Ertz or Graham. Hard to say, but I think I'd take Jimmy Graham still over Ertz. Ertz got a good matchup this week, though, against the Giants. Giants are still good against the pass, against wide receivers, not against tight ends. But I think it doesn't really matter. Actually, you could play any one of those two. They'll probably get the same score this week. But I just like Graham just for the end zone looks, especially. Henry will burn Cleveland this week. Oh, Hunter Henry? Yeah. Sorry, when you said Henry, I was thinking of Derrick Henry. Kelsey or Walker? Whew. I'd say Delaney over Kelsey this week. Do you think Gurley will live up to my third overall pick this week? Finally, yeah. I think Gurley will have 150 yards rushing this week. The 49ers just can't stop the run. They're banged up. Their defensive line is banged up. Their linebackers are banged up. Their safeties are banged up. Now their corners are banged up. It's the perfect week for if there was ever a perfect week to play Gurley, it's this week. If the 49ers stop Gurley, I swear it's a miracle. And you're talking about a guy that's a 49er fan. I'm telling you right now, they've given up 11 100-yard rushers this year. They stopped Gurley earlier in the year, but that's when their defense was pretty healthy. They had Navarro Bowman in there as well. I don't see that happening this week. I think Rams are going to run all day, all over the 49ers this week. So if you held Gurley, this is the week that maybe Gurley actually does something for you and gets you a lot of points. I think he's going to get probably 150 yards and maybe a couple touchdowns this week. Kelsey or Green? I think Green's banged up. I would definitely start Kelsey over Ladarius Green. I'm not sure. Green will probably play, but I know he's been banged up a lot. He still had that foot injury that he was coming back from as well. So I'm not sure about Ladarius Green. He had one good game so far this year since he's been back, but I just don't know if I trust him, especially in the playoffs, in the playoff game. Todd Gurley and my running backs are Bell and Johnson. Whew. Yeah, start all three. Flex Gurley. Cooks, Inman, Michael Thomas, Rashard Matthews, Gabriel Inman. Please pick three. Cooks. I'd pick Cooks, Gabriel, and Michael Thomas. Stephon Diggs or Alshon Jeffrey. I know what you meant, Jeffrey, but that was kind of funny. Stephon Diggs or Alshon Jeffrey in PPR. I think I'd go this week. I might go with Diggs for PPR, although both might get you a lot of points this week for PPR. Diggs going against Green Bay, though. I don't know. Just I don't trust Bradford. That's the problem with that. Where Jeffrey doesn't have anybody as better throwing to him either. I think I'd say Diggs for PPR. Should I start Gurley instead of David Johnson? No, I'm not going to tell you to do that. Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson are beasts. David Johnson has a really tough matchup against Seattle. I will say that. It's a tough matchup, but that doesn't mean that he still won't dominate just because of the way Arizona uses him. But Gurley's definitely going to have a good game. If you have a flex spot, normal usually they have flex spots. You don't have a flex spot, is that what you're saying? Or do you just have such a good team that that's just the way? I can't flex Gurley. My fantasy doesn't have flex Sally. Oh man. Woo, you got a tough decision. If I'm assuming this is your championship game, as much as it's hard. It's hard to sit David Johnson. He's been a beast all year long, but playing against that Seattle defense, I'm just not sure. I would say it's up to you, man. I don't want to be the one that determines your decision on that, because those are three backs that I think they're all beasts, but at the same time, I don't know. Zeke, if he doesn't play a full game, what do you mean? This week? No, he should be playing a full game this week. They haven't clinched yet. If they win this week, the Cowboys clinch home field advantage. I know that. I don't think there's anybody that can catch them if they win 13 games. So If the Cowboys win this week, they'll definitely clinch home field advantage and probably won't play Week 17. So if you have a Week 17 playoff game or championship game, like in my league, unfortunately, and I have Zeke, I would say stash Darren McFadden and Alfred Morris now, because I'm not even sure which one of those two will start if he ends up being on a bye or not bye, if he ends up getting rested for the playoffs, for real playoffs, that is. Standard league: Stephon Diggs, Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, or Taylor Gabriel. Pick two. That's really tough. But I would say Devontae Adams and Taylor Gabriel. If Julio Jones starts, I would say Michael Thomas and Devontae Adams. Although Taylor Gabriel does have a really good matchup. Jimmy Graham or Tyler Eifert. I don't know. I can't go against Eifert. It's hard, man. Eifert, just those red zone opportunities is just crazy what he gets. Healthy AJ Green or Dez, I'd say Dez. I just don't trust AJ Green. And if you got a stud like Dez, I'd still play him. Plus, I think Darius Slay might not play. I'm not sure. Check that. But if Darius Slay doesn't play as well, I definitely like Dez Bryant. Kelsey, Graham, or Delaney. You have all three of those? My goodness, you have like the best team known to mankind. I'd play Delaney, but holy crap, your team is stacked. Michael Thomas, standard flex, Michael Thomas or Taylor Gabriel. I don't know. I think I might go Michael Thomas. I don't ever sit Zeke. Sit Gordon over Zeke. Yeah, Gordon's not gonna even play this week. Probably. I think that I just read that actually not too long ago that Gordon probably won't even play this week. Healthy AJ Green or Dez. I just answered that basically. You probably didn't realize it till I just hit that again. Sorry. But yeah, like I said, I think Dez Bryant, because I just don't trust AJ Green in a hamstring injury over a healthy Dez. So let's get into defenses, and then we can wrap this up. Defenses this week. I'm not getting into kickers. Do not ask me about kickers. I'm telling you right now. Yeah, Casey, we're going to do defenses, man. We're going to do defenses. Sorry. Now, you got to think about defenses in a sense like who has the worst offenses, who gives up a lot of sacks, who turns over the ball a lot, so and worst offensive lines. Who has really bad offensive lines? The Rams. So I'm not saying start the 49ers defense because you can't do that, but I'm just saying bad offensive lines. The Vikings have bad offensive lines, so who are they playing? Green Bay. I like Green Bay's defense a lot this week. Who else? Denver has. You got to also think of teams with just really not good quarterback play. The Broncos with Trevor Siemian has been horrible. So Kansas City Chiefs probably be a really good play, and they're always a good play anyways because of Tyreek Hill running that freaking ball out of a punt returner spot. He's dangerous. New England Patriots going against the Jets. I believe Fitzpatrick might start this game. I'm not sure if Petty's playing, but he got hurt last week, so even if he does play, doesn't matter. The New England Patriots defense has been pretty solid all year. I like them against the Jets. Seattle's defense, always a good play. This week's a definitely a good play against the Cardinals. And who else has bad quarterback play? The Browns, another team with bad quarterback play with freaking RG3. He's been garbage. So you got the San Diego Chargers. Who else has bad? Oh, the Rams playing against the 49ers. The 49ers offensive line is garbage. So the Rams D might be a really good play. They might give up some yards to Cardinals High this week, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to give up a lot of points to the 49ers and Colin Kaepernick. Like I did say, Colin Kaepernick has had good games in the past, but the 49ers offensive line right now has been makeshift a little bit. They've been a little banged up as well. 49ers have 15 or 16 guys on IR, so they're basically already playing with bad team. Somebody earlier said it's pretty hard talking about your own team like that. Yes, it is pretty hard, but I'm stating facts. Like I understand that my team is not, it's just not good. So, and they've just been allowing so many points. They've been making my life easier calling it fantasy wise. So, that's a good thing, I guess. But the Rams should do pretty solid against the 49ers. Houston defense at home, I like them going against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's offense is good, but they're a little banged up with AJ Green banged up. No Giovanni Bernard. Jeremy Hill's been running well, okay, but at the same time, their offense hasn't been doing that great. So I like Houston's defense, who's been pretty solid all year. I do not like Minnesota's defense this week. They have not been playing good the last few weeks. Andrew Luck dominating last week, and I think a hot Aaron Rodgers, despite a calf injury coming in, or not coming in, being at home going against them, he's going to be jacked for them. I know they play each other tough all the time because that's just how Minnesota and Green Bay play, but I just think Aaron Rodgers and company with those wide receivers, they're going to do some damage against Minnesota. Who else? I like Dallas Cowboys defense against Detroit this week, with Matthew Stafford a little bit banged up. Dallas defense has been pretty solid for the most part this year. The Giants defense going against the rookie and Carson Wentz, who's been now looking like a rookie of sorts here in the past few games, although he did bring the Eagles back last week against Ravens, although they went for 2 and lost it. But at the same time, the Giants' defense has just been really, really solid. So I like them going against Philly. I'm trying to think of who else I like. That's pretty much it for defenses, I think. I'm not really not too sold on Baltimore going against Pittsburgh, although they do have a solid defense, but Pittsburgh's offense is just so good. Denver's defense against Kansas City, I think that's going to be a low-scoring affair between Denver and Kansas City, so I like both of those, of course. Would I start the Falcons over the Rams this week? I wouldn't start the Falcons this week going against Carolina and Cam Newton. I don't think the Falcons defense can stop the Panthers, and I don't think the Panthers are going to stop the Falcons. I think that's going to be a shootout. Green Bay or Kansas City, I think I take Green Bay. Just because of the simple fact that you're going to get a lot of sacks with Sam Bradford standing there like a statue where Alex Smith can actually run. And then Kansas City throws a lot of screen passes and gets rid of the ball. Or I'm sorry, Denver throws a lot of quick passes, does a lot of play action. They'll do some stuff. Simeon will be able to do some things, but Stafford stands there like a statue, and he always constantly getting sacked. So I definitely like Green Bay. And Denver's offensive line isn't as bad as Minnesota's. Minnesota's offensive line is garbage. They're like really, really bad. Dontrell Inman, Hopkins, or Diggs. And another thing, Green Bay can stop the run a lot better than Denver can. Denver has not been good against the run this year. I think they're like the 4th worst team against the run. Let me look that up just to be sure. I don't want to tell you some stat and then it be wrong. But I believe Denver's 4th worst against the run. Yeah, they're 4th worst against the run. So sorry if I'm banging the heck out of my microphone. But yeah, I definitely like Green Bay's defense this week. Thanks for the help this year. Won 3 ships last year with some of your help. Hopefully 3 this year. Dang, man, really? That's crazy. I'm hoping I can win 3 this year. That'd be really cool. I haven't done that in a long time. I haven't won 3 in a year. I've done that a couple times. It'd be really nice to win 3 in a year again. That'd be really good. Especially doing this. That'd be fun. Seahawks or Baltimore. Whew. It's a tough one. I think I go with Seahawks. Seahawks at home. Baltimore's playing on the road. And their defense is so solid, but Seahawks defense against the Cardinals at home, I like them a lot. Chargers or Pats, I would definitely say the Patriots defense. Although the Chargers do have a really good matchup against the Browns, but I'd still say the Patriots defense. Bengals or Bucks. Bengals going against Houston and Tom Savage, or the Bucks are playing New Orleans. I definitely would sit the Bucks. I believe Bucks are playing New Orleans, right? Let me make sure of that again. Yeah, I would definitely take the Bengals over the Bucks. Do I have a cat? Yeah, he should be behind me or something, isn't he? Nope, he's not around right now. He's usually walking around or around me, but right now I think he's with my wife. Rawls PPR. I do like Thomas Rawls this week. I like him a lot. It depends on who else you got, I guess. Allen Robinson or Calvin Benjamin or Demaryius Thomas or Alshon Jeffrey or Taylor Gabriel or Marvin Jones. Pick two. Whew, that's tough. I like Allen Robinson and I like Taylor Gabriel. I hate to tell you to sit Benjamin actually like this week too, going against the Falcons. I would probably say this week Allen Robinson and Calvin Benjamin, although Taylor Gabriel might have a really solid game too. Chargers or Rams. I would take. That's a tough one too. I think I take the Chargers. Calvin Benjamin is a bum. Can be a bum, but going against that Falcons pass defense, he might look like a stud. This week I checked Jameis Winston. Hopkins. Hopkins, Inman, or Diggs, will take Hopkins. Green Bay or Ravens PPR. Is there something different in PPR for defense? Green Bay. Hopkins, Inman, or Diggs? I think I answered that, didn't I? Hopkins, Inman, or Landry? That's tough. I might have to say Landry. Browns or Packers? Packers. Tyrell Williams or Fitz? I'd say Tyrell Williams this week. Crowell or Marshall? Sneed. I'd say Sneed. Chargers or Broncos? I would still start the Broncos even though they're playing Kansas City. Their defense is so solid. They might give up some rush yards, but they're so solid. Definitely Hopkins. Hopkins with a new quarterback. I go with Hopkins. I love wherever Murray. Latavius, that is. Bills D or St. Louis. I think I'll take the Rams just because they're playing the 49ers and they give up a lot of sacks. Rams will be able to penetrate and get some good D-line play this week. Plus Colin Kaepernick. He just doesn't know how to move in the pocket. Gets sacked. Where Miami, Matt Moore throw the ball up, get the ball out of the way. They'll run Jay Ajayi a lot. I just think St. Louis is just a much better defense at this point to play this week. Stephon Diggs or Ted Ginn Jr. PPR, I'm assuming you meant. Take Diggs, definitely. He'll get more catches. Ted Ginn might get more yards, depending on if he gets a deep ball or not, but Stephon Diggs gets a lot of catches. Brandon Marshall or Cooks. This week, Cooks. Brandon Marshall's going against New England Patriots defense. They've been pretty solid. Hyde or Kelly. PPR. That's tough. Both, I don't know. Maybe Carlos Hyde. Breeze or Flacco. That's easy. Breeze. Chad Johnson or TJ Hushmanzada. Ocho Cinco. Tennessee, San Fran, or Washington. You gotta learn how to spell Hushmanzada, man. Tennessee, San Fran, or Washington. I would go with. I don't know. I think I'd go with the Redskins defense. How about DeMarco Murray or Howard? I'd still go with DeMarco Murray. Rams or Titans? Rams. Steve Smith Sr. or DeAndre Hopkins in Standard League? DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, Hushman. I don't even know how to spell Hushmanzada. Somebody put Hushmanzada in the stream real quick. The real spelling. It's crazy. It's like HOUSMAN. I don't know. I think I'm close, maybe. That's off the top of my head there. Kenny Britt or Deshaun Jackson. I like Kenny Britt this week going against the 49ers with no corners. The 49ers corners are messed up. But Deshaun Jackson also going against the Bears. In Chicago, might be cold. I think I'm going to have to go with Britt in the sun in Cali. Allen Robinson, Calvin Benjamin, Demaryius Thomas, Alshon Jeffrey, or Taylor Gabriel, Marvin Jones, pick 2. Did I do this already? I swear I did this already. I said Allen Robinson and Benjamin, or Allen Robinson and Gabriel. You pick out of those, but I would leave Allen Robinson. I think Calvin Benjamin's going to have a good game this week, but like someone said, he is a bum, and he has been being a bum lately. And I think Taylor Gabriel will have a good game. It's just hard to pick against Demaryius Thomas, but you just never know which of those two wide receivers are going to ever get the ball between him and Sanders. Alshon Jeffrey, I don't like his matchup going against the Redskins and Brashad Breeland and Josh Norman. So Taylor Gabriel's a nice pick there too. TJ Hushmanzada. See, I was close. That's a crazy name. AP or Kenneth Dixon. It's hard. AP did not look good in this first game, but this is the first game back, so maybe the second game will be better. He might score like 20 touchdowns. I don't know. But, I mean, you got to go with AP. Kenneth Dixon and Terrence West just share carries, so it's hard to pick Kenneth Dixon over AP, where Adrian Peterson is going to keep getting fed the ball. Montgomery or Hightower, I would take Montgomery just for this. Well, actually, I don't know. The way the Minnesota plays the run, but it's just Montgomery gets passes thrown too. But I think I'd take Hightower. Atlanta defense or Rams defense, definitely the Rams defense this week. I think Atlanta's going to give up some points this week. Is LaShawn McCoy going to put up more than 25 points on the board? Going against the Miami defense, probably. I mean, he's been good for probably. He's going to probably be good for about 120 something, maybe 130 yards rushing. And he's probably going to get another 2 touchdowns this week if they give him the carries. That's been the problem. Gillislee has stole how many touchdowns? Gillislee has 8 touchdowns or something like that. Think of all those touchdowns LaShawn McCoy could have had that Gillislee took. So. I think LaShawn McCoy is he's been solid the last few weeks. Since he's come back from that hamstring injury, he's been nothing but short of just great. So, yeah, it's crazy. Congrats to you and your wife. Merry Christmas and good luck this week. Thanks, man. And same to you. Same to all you guys. Best of luck this week, guys. I mean, believe me, I would love it if you guys all win your fantasy matchups. I know you guys all aren't. I know it's not going to happen. I might give some bad advice here and there. It's going to happen. It's bound to happen. And, I'll apologize now because I won't get a chance to apologize later. But, that's what makes this one of the hardest things to do. Believe me, if I knew the answers to everything and knew exactly how players were going to do, and I could share that with you, believe me, I would share it with you and we'd all be rich. But unfortunately, I'm just a guy that looks at stats. I'm a guy that looks at games. I'm looking at the matchups, the way things look to me, and I just have a hard time with it. So, and I try to judge the best I can and then try to give that information to you guys. So, believe me, if I was 100% right, Man, I'd be loaded. I'd be loaded, loaded, loaded. You see a mansion. I'd be in a room in one of my rooms in a mansion. I do a video from every room in my mansion. But unfortunately, that's just how it goes. This is how fantasy is. I mean, there's been some years where I've been really on point, like to the point where like, whoo, I'm just like, wow, I'm feeling it. And then there's some weeks where you're just like, man, I picked somebody to sit and the guy scores like 50 points. What was I thinking? Like those are some weeks. It just happens. It's fantasy. But I'm glad you guys understand that, and that's cool. So and if you're wondering if what Mike is saying, if you're new, if you happen to be new to this to fantasy football fiends, I'm having a daughter on May 11th. My wife is due May 11th. That's what Mike Zofo was congratulating me for. I already have a daughter. Actually, she's 20 or almost 20. She'll be 20 in May, and I'm having a new daughter now. 20 years later, basically. Pick 3. Bills defense for me. Hope I'm allowed to answer other questions here. Yeah, you're allowed to answer questions. Guys, everybody's allowed to answer questions. As long as you're nice to people and you don't treat people like they're dumb, you're always welcome to answer questions on my stream. You're always answered to chip in advice, even for me. If you think that I'm wrong about something, you feel free to tell me. Hey, I think this is what's going to happen, and tell me why. You just don't be a douchebag about it. That's all. That's all I ask from everybody. I'm pretty cool with people coming on my stream and being cool with me and telling me their input and stuff like that. I mean, hey, sometimes I might even take your advice. But yeah, you're always welcome to answer other people's questions and do stuff for people. I like that. I appreciate when people help each other out in the stream. That's why I've always told everybody we're one big fantasy football family, and it's good to have everybody helping each other so that we can all do well together. Unless you're in a league against each other and you happen to be watching the same thing, then you might want to give the other guy some bad advice so you can beat him maybe if you're in that championship game. That's the only time where I'll say, yeah, give some advice, make it sound cool, but maybe it's the wrong thing. Tell them to start somebody else over somebody else so you can win that game. But other than that, everybody's cool here, and I think we've done a good part, with each other of weeding out the bad seeds and getting rid of those people and keeping it a chill atmosphere in the way we chat with each other and everything. So it's really cool. I like that. It's been a pleasure doing fantasy football videos for you guys this year. I gotta tell you, just from that aspect alone. Who's the best player on my fantasy team? Depends on which team. Actually, I have 2 teams with Ezekiel Elliott, so I would definitely have to say he's been one of the best players on that team. I had another team with, believe it or not, LaShawn McCoy and Antonio Brown, but I traded them so I can get Zeke Elliott and like 3 other wide receivers. So I made a deal that actually benefited me because I ended up winning more because I got more players out of the deal. And that was the league where there's like a 21-man roster. You start like 14 players and it's like crazy. So I was trying to get more depth. So I knew that if I traded Antonio Brown, I can grab more depth, and I got more wide receivers. And it's a PPR league, so I was just stacking wide receivers. I get a lot of picks. I get a lot of catches. Sorry, and that's how I became number 1. I flew to number 1. I think I didn't lose a game for like a long time in that league. I ended up 11-3 in first place in that league after I made that deal. So it was really hard, believe me, to trade LaShawn McCoy and Antonio Brown, but I got like, I don't remember, I got like 4 players for both of them, and I was able to just rack up points. Let's get into these things. I know people got problems here and they want questions answered. I'm in a problem, don't know which bench for Gurley, David, or Bell. Oh, you're still on that? Listen, man, if it was me and I had Todd Gurley this week going against the 49ers, I think personally I would bench Le'Veon Bell. I don't remember if you told me if it's standard or PPR, but if it's PPR, then I would keep David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell. But if this is not PPR and if it's just standard, I think I would bench Le'Veon Bell. And the only reason I'm saying that is because Baltimore's defense has been so solid, and the 49ers defense is just, they're liable to give up 150 yards to Gurley or maybe more. Who knows? Their defense is just not good right now, and that's the only reason I would do that. Only reason I would do that. Because believe me, you never want to bench either one of those two players. But when you have three guys like this, and one of them has this dream matchup, you got to figure out which one, and I think the one that you have to figure out would have to be Bell. I just think that David Johnson will maybe get some goal line carries. Well, so does Bell, but at the same time, I think David Johnson has more opportunities maybe than the Ravens do, because Seattle's defense is minus Earl Thomas, and they're minus. Arizona might be able to get off a couple runs on them, whereas Baltimore's been really solid against the run. So I just think if there's ever a time to bench Le'Veon Bell, it'd be now. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I don't want to be the reason why you lose your league and Le'Veon Bell scores like a bunch of points. But if it's PPR, then you keep Le'Veon Bell and David Johnson, because Gurley's not going to get a lot of catches out of the backfield, where Le'Veon Bell, you know, is going to get you like 6 or 7 catches. You know David Johnson's going to get you like 6, 7, 8 catches. So you definitely want to keep those guys in. Hope that helps. I don't know if I could be any more clearer there, but that's the only thing I could do. Jeffrey or Landry, and pick 2 for running back, Jordan Howard, Rob Kelly, or Deion Lewis, PPR. Jeffrey or Landry, I take Landry because it sounds like you're a PPR, so definitely Landry. Running backs, Jordan Howard, Rob Kelly, Deion Lewis. If it's PP, it's hard because I hate telling people this, because I think I'd take Jordan Howard and Deion Lewis, but only Deion Lewis because it's PPR. But I'm a little worried because you never know if James White ends up catching the ball. I would say Jordan Howard and Deion Lewis, but I would make sure see what's going on with James White, because he might be the one. The week before was James White catching balls. Then last week it was Deion Lewis. Now this week, who's it going to be? Is it going to be somebody else? Like, you never know who's it going to be with the Patriots, so it's really hard to determine. So if you're a little nervous about that, then start Rob Kelly. But I just get nervous when it comes to Patriot players, because you never know which ones are going to do good. The only one you know is going to do well is LeGarrette Blount, because he's always going to get the ball. He's going to run the ball constantly with him. So he's the one that you always have to look out for. But when it comes to the pass catching backs, my goodness, you never know what the Patriots are going to use. They're so annoying when it comes to that. It's hard to play fantasy football with them. You should do more live streams or chill. Yeah, I try to run a chill stream, I guess. I don't do this very often, but they're pretty relaxed. I would say I'm a pretty relaxed dude. Pick 3, McCoy, Martin, Kelly, or Howard. That's a really difficult one, too. Definitely LaShawn McCoy. Definitely Jordan Howard. If I had to pick between Martin and Kelly, I'd say Martin this week. Hobbs said pick 1. Pick 1 of what? Oh, okay. He said it underneath. David Poreba, Watkins, or Tyrell Williams. I would say Tyrell Williams. Although Sammy Watkins does have a good matchup this week, I just don't trust Tyrod Taylor to get him the ball, where I trust Phillip Rivers to get Williams the ball. Pick 1, Doug Martin, Jeremy Hill, Trevino Coleman. I think you meant Tevin Coleman, but you must have done this on your phone. Maybe auto-corrected to Trevino. Or Doug Baldwin at flex. Pick 1, Doug Martin, Jeremy Hill. Oh, if you only had to pick 1 at flex, whew. Out of that one, I think Doug Martin, man, against New Orleans. I would say Doug Martin. Standard league, yeah. Then there you go, man. I would definitely play Gurley this week, man. I just think he's gonna get a lot of yards. If they stop him, that'd be to me a miracle. Tyrod Taylor, Drew Brees, definitely Drew Brees. Yeah, trust in the Brees, man. I know he was horrible for a few weeks, and then it just killed Arizona. I thought it was gonna be a rough matchup for him. He ended up killing Arizona, so gotta go with the Brees. Ravens fan here. Start Bell because the Ravens are probably finding a way to mess it up. Yeah, I mean, it could be. It could be. That's why it's a hard thing. I mean, it's hard to say sit him over somebody, but when you got three of those guys and one of those guys has like a dream matchup, it's just so hard to pick that. And that's the only way I can see it is the Ravens are so good against the run though, and I would say just definitely start. The goal is to take out Le'Veon Bell, but I would say definitely start Gurley. Oakland does have a good matchup this week. Let me answer this real quick. Crowder. Oh, actually, there's another one on top. Sorry. Ingram, Monty, Mitchell, Lockett, or Flex. Ingram, Monty for Flex, Stanley. Just one of those? My goodness, you guys are giving me tough ones. You guys are trying to kill me. Ingram, Monty, Mitchell, or Lockett and Flex. I don't know. I think I'll go with Mitchell. Malcolm Mitchell's he's been getting touchdowns. I would say Mitchell going against the Jets. I don't think the Jets have anything by to match up with his speed. Crowder or Lockett. This week I would say Crowder. Actually, no, Lockett against Arizona. I would say Lockett. Do you trust in Cooper this week? Oakland has a great matchup this week versus the poorest Indy defense, but Carr's pinky is hindering his passing attack. That is true. I don't know. Cooper, and another thing, Cooper's hurt. I don't know what exactly is wrong with him, but I know he's been a bit banged up. So is Crabtree. He got like a dislocated finger, but Crabtree's still playing better than Cooper. I think Cooper's issues with his leg. Something's going on with him, and I'm not sure what it is, but with the matchup against Indy, you gotta still go with Cooper. He's Amari Cooper. At the end of the day, Carr's going to try to find him the ball. So hopefully he just steps up and does something. Should I start Cooper and Evans? I would still start Cooper and Evans. If you're going to switch anybody, I would put either Malcolm Mitchell or Landry in, but keep Evans. If you don't trust Cooper, put in Landry's a good play. I mean, Landry's been solid. Landry's been getting up and he's been playing. He's been balling for Miami. So, if there's anybody you should start over Cooper, it'd be Landry definitely. Malcolm Mitchell's been balling too, but Landry's definitely a solid play. He's going to get you so many targets, and on top of that, he gets a lot of catches. Jeffrey or M in PPR, I'd say Jeffrey. Packard said, playing my brother-in-law in my money league final. I'd love to beat his butt. He said the other word, so it blocked him. It blocked his message, but I'll read it to you guys, so you know what he said. Bengals fan. F Steelers and Ravens, but gotta love the Browns. 2 free wins. I like Newton more this week. D. Thomas or Baldwin or D. Jackson in flex standard. I think I would start Baldwin. If Smith starts against Brown, it's not good. Only 60 yards. Only 60 yards per game. Without Smith in the game, 100 plus yards. Start Cam. Yeah, I definitely like Cam Newton this week. He's been so all year long, but this week against Atlanta, I think he's going to do well. Atlanta's got no defense. They're a good team. They just got no defense. Yeah, I'm actually going against LaShawn McCoy this week as well. But I have Zeke Elliott. And I also have Jeremy Hill going. And he's got LaShawn McCoy and LeGarrette Blount. So, I don't know. We're going to see what happens with that. But I have Aaron Rodgers. He has Russell Wilson. So, we're going to see. We're going to see how that works. Justin Tucker or Matt Prater. I don't know. Justin Tucker's been, he'll get you like 50-yard field goals. Go with Justin Tucker. I don't know what to tell you when it comes to kickers, man. I don't care. We got 2 good kickers, though. Green Bay or Tennessee defense this week? I'd say Green Bay. Minnesota has a really bad offensive line. Green Bay is going to get some sacks this week. They're going to, especially with Peppers and Matthews, they're going to be getting after Sam Bradford. Flacco and Mariota. 6-point touchdowns. Ooh, you get 6-point touchdowns. You're a lucky man. Um, I don't know. I think I'd go with Mariota. I don't know. I don't really know. Flacco usually. I'm gonna go with Mariota over Flacco. Green Bay D, definitely. What's the most money you've won from winning a fantasy football championship game? The most money I've ever won. I was in a league once with a $200 buy-in, and I won that 2 years in a row. And the payout was $1,400 for first place, and I won that 2 years in a row. And then I was kicked out. So that was one of the leagues I was kicked out of. Cam Newton or Big Ben. And that's the most I've ever spent was $200 buy-in. I probably never do that again. I don't like to gamble lots of money anymore. As good as I am at fantasy football, and believe me, I love fantasy football a lot, and it's fun to play it, and I do pretty well at it, but I just don't like. I just don't like seeing my money. It's too stressful thinking of your money going away if you lose, you know? And the weird thing is I haven't really lost. Like, I've always been in the playoffs. Last year was the only year that I never won a championship, at least one championship. Most of the times I was used to being like 4 leagues in a year, and I would win like 2 or 1, or I'd place like second or third in some other ones. I've always been in the playoffs though. Last year was the first time I was in a league where I didn't win a championship. I did make the playoffs. I lost. I ended up in 3rd place. But I've done pretty well in fantasy football in the leagues that I've been in. And yeah, I've been kicked out of a couple leagues here and there. But I got kicked out of one league, that league in particular, because I won it 2 years in a row. And I think they were a little pissed at me because I came in. Plus, I did crap talk a lot. I talked a lot of junk in that league because they were talking junk to me at first, you know, because I was a newbie, but they didn't know me, and I just love football so much that I was just really good at fantasy football. So it was fun. Tyreek Hill or Michael Thomas? I would go Michael Thomas this week. Perfect last 2 years. Tears Bell's ACL. Hurts Ben's shoulder. Destroys Brown in playoff game. Go perfect. I would start Thomas over Hill. I think Denver will. It's the same thing I just said basically. Should I fear OBJ? Yeah. He has been on fire, and right now they're gonna do everything they can to give him the ball. I mean, the Eagles will try to do everything they can to frustrate him, but he's been playing solid. So, full point PPR, DeAndre Hopkins aware. Whew, I don't know. That's a really tough one. Going against Cincinnati, it's going to be hard for Hopkins to catch the ball a lot. But I think for full point PPR, I'd have to go where, because he's going to get you rushing yards, and on top of that, he's going to get you some catches out of the backfield. So you get the combo of both, where Hopkins is not going to rush the ball as well. So I would say where, because you're going to get more touches. You're going to get a lot of screen passes too. Jeffrey, pick 2. Jeffrey versus Washington or Cooper versus Indianapolis. Devontae Adams versus Minnesota. Tyrell Williams versus Cleveland. Already starting OBJ. I would go Devontae Adams and Tyrell Williams. I'd want to tell you Cooper, but I just don't trust him. I don't know what's going on with him. Tyrell Williams has a really good matchup against Cleveland. I like him. And Devontae Adams, I know it's a bad matchup against Minnesota. So either you could start Cooper over Adams, but I don't know. It's just hard to sit Adams with the way he's been playing. Who do I think is going to win between Saints and Bucks? I don't know. I mean, Bucks seem like they should win, but you never know. The Saints could possibly pull off that upset. And I don't even think that's an upset, to be honest with you. The Saints are not a bad team. They just don't have a really good defense. They can't stop anybody. Evans, Cooper, Landry, or Evans. Or Evans, Cooper, Landry, or Evans, Landry, Jeffrey. I don't know. I think this week I would say Evans, Cooper, Landry. I like Jeffrey, but at the same time, I don't know if he's going to get a lot of catches. going against Washington. What happened to Vault Boy? The last I heard from Vault Boy was that something happened to his YouTube account. Like it got like either somebody like reported him or something happened with him that he told me that something like his YouTube account was like canceled or something. So I don't know if he's starting another one or what he's doing, but he hasn't been around. So I don't know what's going on with him. Derek Carr or Russ? Definitely Carr. Antonio Brown or Derek Thomas or Demaryius Thomas? Definitely Antonio Brown. Who will be the player featured the most? Who will be the player featured the most fantasy football championship teams? Wait, what? I'm sorry, fantasy clause. What do you mean by that question? Might have to reword that question. Oh yeah, Falcons are an awesome fantasy team right now. They're just, I mean, their offense is solid, man. They're freaking Kyle Shanahan's an incredible offensive coordinator, just like his father. Who will be the player most on fantasy? I mean, you never know. I mean, it could be all different kind of players. LaShawn McCoy, Zeke, Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, depending on if he plays or not this week. I mean, there's so many different players that have been so solid this year. Mike Evans. Obviously, if you're like in those PPRs, or it's those pickups, those waiver wire pickups like Jordan Howard, Ty Montgomery, Malcolm Mitchell. Who else this year? There's been some solid players this year. Rob Kelly. I mean, nobody drafted these guys at the beginning. I mean, unless you're in a really, really, really deep leagues, some of those players did get drafted and they were held onto. But Taylor Gabriel, guys like those have been solid pickups. I mean, in one of my leagues, I actually had Jordan Howard, Ty Montgomery, I had a bunch of players and I dropped them due to injuries because. This is a really funny story. I dropped them because a lot of my players got injured. So I had to drop them to make sure I get the backups to my guys that I dropped because I was nervous that I didn't want to lose the guys that I dropped. So and some of my guys had buys, so it was really difficult to play in this league. So I dropped some of those players. They were picked up by the guy that I'm actually facing. He had no injuries. He picked up a bunch of my guys. He picked up probably 5 of my players that I had on my bench because I had to drop them due to injuries or other things happening or buys or stuff like that going on. I didn't want to lose my studs. So he picked up those players and now he's playing against me in the semifinals and he's got a bunch of those players that I had. I was like, you son of a gun. I was like, he pretty much has my team that I had, but I had to drop a lot of those players. So that's the part that's frustrating when you get injuries and stuff like that. But I mean, a lot of these people that are in the championship are there because they have players that they picked up on waiver wires that, put them over the edge. That's what happens, man. You pick up those good studs. The cough is starting to catch up to me now. Stuff must be wearing off that I took earlier. But that's the part that does it, that does your team good. I'm going to have to end this stream because I'm going to start to have coughing attacks. So, I mean, it's close to 10 anyways. So, this video is going to re-upload. What it does on YouTube is it re-uploads after you stop the stream. So, if you've made it this far, obviously, and you want more questions answered, just leave comments on this video. Thanks again, guys, for watching me this year. I appreciate it. It's been an awesome year with you guys. I'll see you next year. Next year, we'll do things a lot different. Another thing, if you want in the comment section, if you have any suggestions for the show, good suggestions. Try not to make them like crazy things or don't do this and don't do that. Don't tell me what to do. Just good, positive suggestions that you might want to give me for next year on how what you like and things that you like from other shows or whatever, how they do it, and if you want me to maybe implement that into my show, I can try to do that for you guys next year. I know that I already stressed earlier that I want to do a live show again, maybe, and maybe make Stardom and Sit 'em live instead of Stardom and Sit 'em show, where we take some calls and we interact with some viewers, and I don't know, we'll see what happens with everything, but suggestions are welcome. And like I said, thank you again, guys, for a great year. Thanks Soto, for telling me to feel better. I didn't know you were still here. But I'll see you guys next year. Best of luck in your Week 16 championship games. I know that obviously Soto's in his. He used to be a guy that we played fantasy football together in our leagues too as well. And good luck, buddy. And I'll see you guys next year, man. Take care. I won't be able to shout out this week's DraftKings, so congrats to you guys ahead of time, whoever wins those this year. It's been fun. We'll do it next year as well when football season starts again. You're welcome to, if you're in the league, if you want to do basketball, stuff like that, you can do that if you want to. I mean, I'm probably not going to play, really, because I suck at fantasy basketball. I'm just getting used to it. But and I won't be doing that I will not be doing that on YouTube, because I am not good at fantasy basketball. I don't even know how to play it yet. I'm just kind of figuring it out. But yeah. But once again, thanks a lot. Appreciate you guys, and I will see you next year. All right? Catch you guys later. Peace.